we're gonna be looking at what I think is the best match of the year in the WWE for every year for the past 20 years. Drink every time I say year. And I'm going purely like subjective, like what I personally like. I didn't go and find some lists of like what the best matches are for every year. Like I'm going purely off of the matches that I watch for that year in the WWE. So yes, this is hella subjective and hella bias, but it'll still make for a good video, so let's jump into it. But before I do, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I am confident that you're gonna fall in love with this channel, so go ahead and subscribe. Also, some of you said that I look like Jim Cornette with these glasses. Also, a couple of you said Jeffrey Dahmer. You guys are mean. All right, let's start with the year 2002. And fun fact, this is the year that I really started to watch wrestling on a regular basis. I had caught episodes of Raw and SmackDown periodically before this, but it was 2002 where I can say with confidence that I became a fan of the WWE. That might surprise some people because I think a lot of you think I'm like 40. I'm 30. I just look like a 40-year-old Dominican baseball player. Anyways, my favorite match from 2002 was Shawn Michaels versus Triple H in an unsanctioned match at SummerSlam 2002. Fun fact, this is also the very first pay-per-view that I was allowed to purchase. For my birthday this year, I asked for SummerSlam. So this is the very first pay-per-view that I ever got to watch live and in person, because before that, all I was doing was renting VHSs from libraries, like the VHS of like Armageddon 2001. Like that's how I was getting my pay-per-views. By the way, you're gonna see a lot of Shawn Michaels on this list, so I'm just forewarning you now. But this match is absolutely phenomenal. I had no idea who Shawn Michaels was before this, and he definitely instantly became one of my favorites of all time with this matchup right here. The storyline for this was also fantastic, but this was just such a great one technical match, brutal car crash, and it just told such a great story. I love this match. Let's go revisit 10-year-old Santi now in 2003. This one for me wasn't even close. I went with Kurt Angle, who you're also going to see quite a bit in this list, versus Brock Lesnar on SmackDown in a 1-hour Iron Man match. Again, this is an era where I wasn't buying pay-per-views because I was a kid, so I was waiting for pay-per-view results. So to get a pay-per-view-like match on free television blew my mind. A 1-hour Iron Man match between two of the best to ever do it is insane, even by like today's standards. This match fucking rules. Go watch this. On to 2004. For this one, I went with the WrestleMania 20 triple threat match between Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels, and the champion at the time, Triple H. To date, this is still arguably the greatest triple threat match that I've ever watched. It's just a shame that the WWE will never celebrate this match for obvious reasons because of the Benoit tragedy. But if you can put that aside and just go back and watch this match, you are going to watch three experts of their craft. It is such a majestically good match. It was also really nice to see that Benoit, a workhorse of the industry, finally got his flowers on that night. Again, it's just a shame that this match will never be celebrated by the WWE themselves. 2005. Hey, I told you were going to see Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels a few more times. I ended up going with Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21, a match that I still, to this day, do not understand how Dave Meltzer didn't give it a 5. This is the reason why I don't listen to that dweeb, because this match is actually perfect. To me, it's in contention for match of the entire decade. It's such an obvious statement to say that Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle is an amazing match, but it just is. Like, go watch this if you haven't. Like, if you're a younger viewer of mine that, you know, is looking at a backlog of wrestling matches that you absolutely need to watch, please add this one to your list. Congratulations to I Am Omega for winning the $1,750 giveaway. And fellas, this week's giveaway is insane. We are at the $2,000 mark. For this giveaway, you can win $2,000 or you can take a PC and a PS5. You can take the cash or the prize. To enter, you just have to click the top link in the description or the pinned comment. It'll take you to this landing page where you can see the prizes, and then click here to enter giveaway. Next, you'll have to put in your email and your username. Make sure you put in a valid email because that's where we'll contact you if you win. From there, it'll take you to the Capital One Shopping Extension install page. To enter your giveaway entry, you have to install the Capital One Shopping Extension to your browser. It is completely free and it'll take you about 30 seconds to enter. Once you've installed the extension, that's it. You are in for this giveaway and all future ones that we do with Capital One Shopping. We're going to be doing the draw for this one fairly soon, soon, so make sure you enter quickly. Now back to the video. 2006. For this one, I ended up going with Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker at No Way Out that year. This match makes me so happy, but it also pisses me the fuck off. It makes me happy because it's an amazing match. It is such a fantastic match. But it makes me upset because it happened 1 month before WrestleMania. And both of these guys would go on to have matches at WrestleMania that were nowhere near as good as this. Because The Undertaker would go on to have a casket match with Mark Henry, and Kurt Angle admittedly had a fantastic triple threat match with Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton, but none of those matches were anywhere near as good as this. And this match doesn't get talked about enough because it didn't happen at WrestleMania. I promise you, if this match had happened at WrestleMania, people would be talking about this match like they do Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. But alas, it happened in No Way Out, therefore no one gives a shit. 2007, the year I started high school. I gotta be honest with you fellas, this is where I started to drop off from wrestling. I hadn't stopped watching completely, but I had waned down a lot. I still don't fully know the reason as to why I stopped watching wrestling at around this time. I could probably say that it was because I started high school, and there's of course this stigma of, you know, you're a loser if you watch professional wrestling, and I fell to that stigma, so I stopped watching altogether. But in 2007, I was still tuning in and out, so I do have some good recollection of 2007. And for me, the best match in 2007 was, hey, shocker, Shawn Michaels again versus John Cena. Now, I went with their Monday Night Raw match, the one after that year's WrestleMania, because I think their Raw match was so much better. The only criminal thing about this match is that it wasn't for the WWE Championship, because it would have been awesome to have Shawn Michaels win it. Remember what I said about a pay-per-view quality match on free television, how mind-boggling that was in 2003? Well, this is exactly what this was. This is like a 40-minute match, and it is so good. This is John Cena's first classic, and Shawn Michaels' like 100th classic match, because the man is just so good at this. 2008. So fellas, this is the year that I watched zero wrestling, completely cold turkey. I didn't watch a single match of professional wrestling. I've of course gone back and watched matches since I've started re-watching wrestling, but I don't think it's fair for me to tell you what I think is the best match of 2008 when I wasn't watching wrestling in 2008. So I'm gonna leave this one for you in the comments to tell me what is the match that I need to make sure I watch from 2008. Let me know in the comments. 2009. So in this year, I started dipping my toes back into professional wrestling, but again, I'm still not fully into it yet. But I could not miss The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. This match is arguably one of the greatest matches that I've ever seen. It is such a masterpiece of a match. The choreography of this, the false finishes, everything about this, the in-ring psychology is perfection. Actual, literal perfection. And hey, you know what? Let's just do this real quick, all right? 2010, same goddamn thing. I know it's nowhere near as good as WrestleMania 25, but I still don't think that there is a match in 2010 that was anywhere near as good as this. I think the closest thing to this is probably Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler at Bragging Rights. That match is also fantastic. Go watch that one if you haven't, but I still don't think it's as good as Career versus Streak WrestleMania 26. So 2011 is the year that I fully got back into wrestling. Like, I'm talking watched every episode of SmackDown, every episode of Raw. And funnily enough, this is the year that I started college. And I just stopped giving a shit what people thought about me. And I like, hey, you don't like that I watch wrestling? You think it's weird that I watch wrestling? Go fuck yourself. How about that? But the real reason why I started watching wrestling again in 2011 is because I heard that The Rock came back. And once that news reached me, I'm like, I am in, baby. I am fully back in, because The Rock was my original favorite wrestler of all time. I know you all know that it's John Cena now, but my OG greatest of all time, the person that I gravitated to when I first started watching wrestling, was The Rock. So when I heard he was back, I jumped back in, and I didn't dip my toes. I went head first. And my favorite match from this year, and it's not even close, is John Cena versus CM Punk. And I'd known about CM Punk a little bit, but he started in WWE really when I started to stop watching the WWE. So for me, this really felt like a reintroduction to the character of CM Punk. And I already knew John Cena. Of course I already knew John Cena, so I already liked him. So to have these two together, putting on a 5-star classic and a 20-star level of a story, it was a perfect combination. I love this match. This is up there with not just my favorite match in 2011, but one of my favorite matches of all time. 2012, the year we were all supposed to die. Wasn't this when the world was supposed to end? For this, I ended up going with Triple H versus The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania 28. This was dubbed the end of an era. And I love the presentation of this. They both got awesome entrances, but not only did these two get entrances, the actual Hell in a Cell, when it was being lowered, got its own entrance theme. It was so sick. But this is one of my favorite matches of all time. I would say that it's my favorite actual match at WrestleMania that I've ever seen. And I say actual match because I'm going to get to something in 2020. But this match is just fantastic. It also has one of the greatest false finishes that I've ever seen. Shawn Michaels delivers a super kick to The Undertaker. Oh yeah, by the way, Shawn Michaels was the special guest referee. He delivers the super kick right into Triple H's pedigree, and The Undertaker fucking kicked out. I watched this in a movie theater because back then you could pay to go watch a pay-per-view, back as what they were called back then. There was no WWE Network back then. I watched this in a crowded theater with a bunch of wrestling fans, and we lost our collective shit. This match is fantastic. 2013. Fellas, this match does not get talked about enough. CM Punk versus The Undertaker. Arguably, like, you can make the argument that this may be Undertaker's best WrestleMania match. I don't personally think that it is. I think it's his second best WrestleMania match of all time. I don't think it's as good as WrestleMania 25, but I think this is better than WrestleMania 26, especially the story that was being told. This is peak Punk. This is peak terrible, detestable Punk, and he played this character so well. And this, in my opinion, is Undertaker's last good match. At least at WrestleMania. He had a decent, like, Hell in a Cell match with Brock Lesnar a few years down the line. But in terms of WrestleMania, like, this is where the Undertaker started to wane off. But yeah, this doesn't get talked about enough. This match fucking rules. It's the best match, not even close, of that year's WrestleMania. To be fair, that year's WrestleMania, kind of disappointing. 2014. Well, looky, we've got some fresh faces. We've got the Wyatt family, Harper, Rowan, and Bray Wyatt taking on the Shield, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley, and Seth Rollins. Dude, this was the match where I said with confidence, the future of the WWE is in great hands. What's nice is that this match is available for free on the WWE YouTube channel, so you can go watch it right now if you haven't already. This match serves so well at being the coming out party for all of these guys, because I had no idea that Luke Harper was as good as he was until I saw that match. And of course, the Shield was already putting on great matches, but this was peak Shield. This was, to me, the best Shield match that we've ever had. The one thing is, if you suffer from asthma, don't watch this match because you won't be able to breathe. It is from start to finish, non-stop, high adrenaline action. 2015. So this is the year where I feel NXT started to really take the mantle of the best wrestling show available. So here, for a few years, the best match, in my opinion, came from NXT. So what I'm going to do is, for a few of these years, I'm going to include my favorite NXT match and my favorite main roster match. Fair? All right, so for my favorite NXT match, and I don't think this is a surprise, it is Sasha Banks versus Bayley at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Up until this moment, I didn't know women were capable of having such a fantastic match because they were not used the way that these two were showcased. For the most part, they were just there to be looked at and ogled. That's how the WWE presented women in professional wrestling. But then along came Sasha Banks and Bayley, and they fucking blew everyone's collective mind. Everyone agrees, including the main roster, this is the best match of that year. However, the main roster was not to be completely outshined because they had a fantastic triple threat match at that year's Royal Rumble between John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and to me, the best version of Seth Rollins, the Architect. Unfortunately, that knee injury meant that Seth Rollins really was never the same, but pre-knee injury, Seth Rollins is so goddamn good. But still, I think Sasha Banks and and Bayley is better than this, but this match still fucks. 2016. So for the NXT match, like I literally had to toss a coin. I was between two matches. I was between Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn at NXT TakeOver Dallas, but ultimately I ended up going with the Revival versus DIY at NXT TakeOver Toronto, and this is completely biased because I was there, so I was able to witness the match from ringside. If you weren't watching wrestling at this time or weren't watching NXT, then maybe you don't fully understand why people are so excited to see Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa reunite on the main roster. This is why, because DIY was so goddamn good. Everybody knows about the Revival now going by the FTR. Even back then, they were already one of the greatest tag teams in professional wrestling across the world. And to put these guys in a best 2 out of 3 match melted everyone's collective faces. This match is just magical. But the best main roster match I think is better than that match is John Cena versus AJ Styles. Out of the 2 matches this year, I think the best one is the one that happened at SummerSlam. And AJ Styles shocked the world by beating John Cena clean. John Cena buries everybody. No, he doesn't, all right? No, he doesn't. Stop. He put over AJ Styles like a champ. 2017. The best NXT match, it wasn't even close in my opinion, was Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne at NXT TakeOver Chicago. By the way, Pete Dunne is Butch, in case you didn't connect those dots. What's crazy is that Tyler Bate was putting on Match of the Year contenders, and I believe he's 19 at this point, which is just crazy. But this is the match that made me a forever fan of the British strong style. For the main roster, looky-loo, look at them again. It's John Cena versus AJ Styles, this time at that year's Royal Rumble match. This is the 3rd match of their trilogy and arguably the best match of the trilogy. This is the one that John Cena won, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is his 16th world title. These two just have a chemistry that's just difficult to explain unless you actually watch all of their matches. This trilogy was such a great moment in time, and in my opinion, John Cena's best set of matches ever. 2018. My favorite NXT match from 2018 was Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. If you care about those Dave Meltzer ratings, this is the first WWE match to get a 5-star rating since John Cena versus CM Punk in 2011. And it absolutely deserves it. This match is absolutely phenomenal, and we got a shocking winner too. No one was expecting Andrade to win this one. But to me, my favorite match of that year was the last woman standing match for the SmackDown Women's title between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair at Evolution. This match doesn't get talked about enough, and I think it's because it happened at Evolution. If you don't remember, Evolution was the all-women's WWE Premium Live event, which was fantastic. And it was bookended by this absolutely fantastic car wreck of a match. This is one of the most violent women's matches that I've ever seen. 2019. So 2019 was definitely the year of Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole. They had 3 phenomenal matches, and funnily enough, I've picked the one that is considered the worst by most fans. Now, I say the worst, but it's still considered an amazing match by everybody. That being their NXT TakeOver Toronto match. It was a 2 out of 3 stages of hell match. And again, I'm being biased because I was there front row, and actually I appear on camera too. Here's the photo of it. I got caught trying to take a selfie. In terms of the best main roster match, I think that has to go to Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston, the climax of Kofi Mania. Everyone knows the Kofi Mania story. It's considered one of the best underdog stories in WWE history, but the match itself is also just amazing. This is far and away Kofi Kingston's best match that I've ever seen him have. It's not Daniel Bryan's best match, but again, that's Daniel Bryan. The man just has classics left, right, and center. But these two had an amazing chemistry, and of course, the emotion behind this match really multiplied how good this match actually was as well. Well, 2020 was a weird year. In case you forgot, we had a little Panic at the Disco this year. Okay, I'll say the word. Hopefully I don't get demonetized. Pandemic. Yeah, this year was a fever dream for WWE fans. We had an empty arena WrestleMania, the Thunderdome, but it still gave us some pretty awesome things. This is definitely a divisive choice, but for me, my favorite match of this year was John Cena versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse match. As fans, this is a match that we, in my opinion, desperately needed in a time of uncertainty. We needed something to put a smile on our face. And to me, this did all of that during one of the saddest, most uncomfortable WrestleManias of all time because it was in front of no one. And I think you can make a great argument for the AJ Styles versus Undertaker Boneyard match, but I just love this so much more because it has John Cena, and it was a love letter to John Cena's career. Everything from beginning to end about this match had me smiling from ear to ear. Of course, seeing John Cena go through this Alice in Wonderland-esque world that was set up by Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's amazing acting as this like Mr. Rogers version of himself, the puppet work, everything about this makes me so happy. And hey, it gave us heel John Cena, NWO John Cena. 2021. This is when we started to see the light at the end of the tunnel as fans started to come back to wrestling shows. We have another women's match here. I think the best match of this year was Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 37. These two just have an undeniable chemistry that I wish we had gotten more of before Sasha Banks decided to leave. Funnily enough, I think the other best match of the year was also at that year's WrestleMania, the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge, but I just preferred this one. It was less overbooked because you didn't have any sort of interferences in the match. It was just two awesome women having an awesome match to main event night one of WrestleMania. In 2022 was the return to form. All fans are back and it feels like wrestling has healed. And this one wasn't even close, fellas. It is Gunther versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship at Clash in the Castle. The epitome of big meaty men slapping meat. This match is both just a brutal car crash in terms of just how hard they hit each other, while also at the same time being a weirdly amazing technical marvel. And it also just had such a great pace to it as well. In such a fantastic sequence of false finishes. This match is goddamn chef's kiss. And of course, 2023 isn't done, but I'd like to throw out there what I think my favorite match is so far. I don't think it's the best technical match, but in terms of a performance and in terms of a show, I think it's the best one. I think it's Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. I know a lot of people are going to say the Intercontinental Triple Threat match at WrestleMania between Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre, but I'm gonna be honest, I enjoyed this more. I know it's an overbooked mess, but god damn it was it fun. And that Puerto Rican crowd just elevated this. I'm telling you, when you have an audience that is so into it, they can elevate a regular match and make it into a spectacle. Just watch The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. If you watch that match on mute, it sucks. But with full volume, listening to the audience, it is a fantastic match. And honestly, that's kind of the same case here. Plus all of like the great entrances and shocking surprises. This match just had everything. It was just a wrestling fan's dream. Bad Bunny is awesome, man. Also that entrance, chambea, hala, I speak Spanish, but Puerto Rican Spanish is hard to understand, okay? Anyways, I'm done. Get out of here.